Leela, sister Leela, here we are. Um, this is getting harder to do. Maybe because last time you sort of had one topic, and it's kind of hard to keep on that one. Um, so when we were young, there was this. This is my version. This is my version of the story you told. When we were young, there was this prediction, and it wasn't that young. I think. I mean, I remember it well, so I must have been at least 10. Or so. That says a lot about my memory. But the fact that I remember it clearly, I remember driving home from our temple with my dad, and he said to me, "Oh, the holy woman who founded our temple, on the ashram there, she predicted glitter nail polish. By the way, you see that? Okay. That you, I don't have ADD, I swear. That Leela, your sister Leela, is going to be a saint. And what about me?" says Mini Maya. And he says, "Well, you'll be a nice person." And I was like, okay, nice person's okay. Saint, huh? And it's pretty much that's all I thought about it. It didn't come back to me very often because you were a little sister. We chased each other around. We screamed at each other. You know, at that time, I don't think you were even doing like magnificent work at school. Like, we were just kids. I mean, we just played together. We did, you stole my journal and lost it around that same time. Not a saintly thing to do. After reading it, I tell my kids this story all the time. Oh my god. That's why you need a lock, boys and girls. So, I didn't think about it much because I know that in Hinduism, there's sort of a specific set of what is considered holy and what is considered sacred, just like with any organized religion. And so if you are going to be a saint within those parameters, yeah, good luck to you. So, one thought that I've had more recently after having kids, I mean, I guess 8 years I had my first child, but in those 8 years, I can kind of see why the state of non-motherhood, the anti-maternal state, whatever that is, the choice not to have kids, it frees you to do a lot of things. I look at people who don't have kids and I'm so like jealous and a little bitter. Like, they had all those years and all that money that they used for a different project or a different purpose or goal. I mean, there are plenty of productive people who do have kids. Like whatever they say, like Charles Schultz would drop off his kids at school in the morning and then go off and write his cartoon. Woo! Go you! Whatever. So that's his, that worked for him. And so I'm hoping that I can still sort of attain something. That sounds terrible. I think every mom sort of has this like crunching, my kids are screaming, oh my god, some crunching like thing of like, I will never get anything done because I have these children I must take care of. And it's beautiful and ugly at the same time, like any relationship, like any really deep relationship, I should say. There's sort of this, I'm not even going to go check because I'm sure they're fine. They're old enough. But, so, I mean, if they were younger, I would turn this off and go, that's the life. That's the life for me. That was, James and the Giant Peach. That was a good one. We watched that together. I showed my kids. Yeah, so, yeah, I didn't feel like there was a lot of rivalry that came out of, that prophecy that you mentioned. I feel like our names, might have affected us differently. I don't really, to be honest, I never really compared myself to you. I think 3.5 years is enough of a difference in age to sort of not foster a lot of like deep conflict, because I always knew that you were younger than me and it would take time for you to catch up with a lot of things. And even when we were older, it was very apparent that we were so different. You were more of a tomboy. I was more of like just the nerdy chick. And I was fine with my social groups and your social groups weren't mine. So, you had some cooler friends than some of your friends were cooler than most of my friends. I can't think of it. Well, I shouldn't. Any of my friends, you guys were the best friends. But Leela had a couple friends that were pretty cool too. So, yeah. I think you know who I'm talking about. Chainmail. Yeah. Anyway, so that's that. I just never felt the competition. And I can see in my kids, I have My daughter's 8. My next kid is a boy who's 6, and the last kid's a boy who's now 2. So there's 2 years and 4 months between the first two, and 3 years and 4 months between the last two. And so I can see the competition between the first two a lot more, even though they're a boy and girl. There's always this sense of like, why is he so dumb? Why is he not as good as me? Why isn't he as fast as me? I'm so much better than him. And it's like, you do have to remember, like, you've had 2 years to improve on everything that he did not have. And she doesn't always get it, because they've always been close enough that, that she just doesn't understand how much she is behind her. Yeah. So, I think the 3 years was good between us, and I'm glad for that. On other topic, I think it'd be cool to do a blind reaction to a musical that we haven't seen yet. I think that'd be really cool. I don't know if that's possible for us, but if we could, that'd be cool. And then another one, where did you see Julie Andrews with My Fair Lady? I can't find it on YouTube, like not just clips here and there, but nothing like real. If it's available on video, I will so go out of my way and get that. Last thing, I haven't learned anything recently that I can think of off the top of my head. I don't want to do a sing-off. It's too public. I mean, maybe, but I do it with my guitar, so it'd be kind of like awkward. I think you'd just hear the guitar and not me. Right. So I think that was pretty much all I wanted to say. Oh, I guess we did want to go into polyamory a little bit because I don't necessarily understand how it works. One criticism or comment I heard about it is that it can only really exist within an industrialized country where you have access to reliable birth control and STD checks. And then if you didn't have these two things, it would be virtually impossible. And if you did it, then women would bear the brunt of every consequence because a lot of STDs affect the women more. And then, of course, men don't get pregnant. So, that's something to... I know you live in San Francisco, so it's very different. But, I mean, around here, everybody's aunts, uncles, cousins, grandparents are around, typically. And... or close enough that, and I think it would be awkward for people. And I know you're all about pushing boundaries and stuff, but I think sometimes your own personal, what's the word? Your reputation, I think, is important to a degree. I mean, just for your livelihood. I mean, it'd be a pain. I have a friend here who put off her boss when she quit, and she sees her at the grocery store, and she won't even talk to her, at the grocery store. And, if you were in a big city, that wouldn't necessarily happen. You wouldn't be bumping into them, randomly around town, because you'd all shop at different places. That's the way it works. It's really rare to bump into people, in a big city. And, and I think, around here, there's sort of that sense of loyalty, and they thought that she was supposed to be loyal to them, and I don't know, it was just a weird, she didn't get it either, and she's from around here, so, yes. And then, what I learned recently, one of my best friends here, and if she watches this, I love you, I just found out she's Mormon, and I felt really bad because I started making a bunch of, anti-Mormon jokes, and was sort of I love the Mormons, they're the best, and I didn't realize she was still Mormon, so she said she was raised Mormon, so I was like, oh my God, she's still Mormon. So she can pray for us after we die. Yes, my favorite. I think every religion who has hell, they need to have that sort of redeeming after you die. I love that. But she did say you have to wait a year. They don't really have a burning hell. I'm going to have to ask her what kind of hell they have. I don't know. I'm sort of whatever on that. Religion is so it really, I feel like Islam saved me from a lot of problems. But it gave me a bunch of new ones too. And, it's been part of my journey, so I'm not gonna, I'm not bitter or anything about the years I spent behind the veil, which I was going to wear in this video. I forgot. That's next time. Remind me, next time I'm going to wear my scarf for you guys. Because Leela didn't see enough of that. Yeah. Oh, it was really awkward. Okay. Leela, I think you remember when you were married, and I had met your husband before I was practicing Islam, and so I think I had already converted, but I wasn't wearing the scarf. And so I walk in the house with no scarf and I'm like, oh, hi, how's it going? You know, and he's just your boyfriend at the time. And we're like, yeah, everything's cool. Then at one point I put on the scarf and so I have to leave it on like in front of him. And he came to visit. We were all together in Michigan and we were at my grandmother's house, which is on the market now in case you didn't know. And yeah, like I'm sure everybody who's not Leela's watching this, like I don't care. And so I'd have to put my scarf on every time he came in the room, or like before he'd come in the room, I'd have to like walk around all the time. And I didn't want to walk. My grandma was very sort of like conservative and she didn't really want to see me in the scarf all the time at home. I didn't want her to feel like I was oppressed or that I was, you know, going through something. So I would try to take it off at home, but as soon as Leela's husband would walk in the room, I'd have to like, whoop, put it on real quick. And so just like, I'd have like a hood or like a scarf like right there ready, you know, to just kind of flip it. And it was so awkward and so stupid. And because he'd already seen me without my scarf on, but because I was practicing at that point, I couldn't possibly let him see even like one little bit of hair. It just, no. It just was not okay. My part is all messed up. Yeah, so, oh God, that's even worse. I'm going to get a haircut soon. If you have any advice, Leela, I know you already, I have to be employable. That's the thing about an undercut or something like really, really funky. I want to be employable. I'm thinking about working in a preschool so I can do, let me do Mr. Wiggle and Mr. Waggle, and you're going to hate this. You're going to love it. If you're on something, you'll love it. Okay. There was one friend named Mr. Wiggle and one friend named Mr. Waggle. I don't think I'm going to do the whole thing. And they lived in their houses. And, okay, sorry, they lived in their houses. So they open up their doors, they go inside, and they shut the door. Now one day, Mr. Wiggle wants to visit Mr. Waggle. So he wakes up and he opens his door. He goes outside, and he shuts the door. And then he goes, this is the best part, up the hill and down the hill, and up the hill and down the hill, and up the hill and down the hill, until he arrives at Mr. Waggle's house. And he knocks on the door. Mr. Waggle! Mr. Waggle! But he doesn't answer because he's asleep. So Mr. Wiggle goes home, and he goes up the hill and down the hill, and up the hill and down the hill, and up the hill and down the hill, until he arrives back at his house, where he opens up the door, goes inside, shuts the door. Now the same thing happens with Mr. Waggle. I'm not going to do it because it's a waste of your time. And then at the end, they all wake up at the same time, and they open up their door, and they go outside, and they go shut the door, and we all go up the hill, and then anyway, they meet and then they talk, and this best part, because they say, do you like coffee? No, I like tea, blah, 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 blah. The kids love that part. And then they go back, and then they're back to their houses, and then they both fall asleep, and if you listen carefully, you can hear them snoring. It's the best part. Yeah, the kids love that one, or at least I love that one. And, yeah, I have kids, and I'm trying to do better with myself, in part to be an example. And you said something like, you know, well, mom and dad sort of just hoped that you and I would be better. And I think mom and dad didn't have, like, a specific goal for the world. My son is sick, and he just woke up, and he wants me. Yeah, I've spent a lot of my life trying to figure out exactly what my goals for saving the world are, and that's for another video. And he's just so, I don't know if you can hear him. He's so sad and sick and asleep and tired and so sad. Anyway, we'll talk later, sis. Take care. Bye.